Architecture has to be looked at in its broader sense. By that I mean a sound building, but a sound building within an environment related to the landscape, the urban landscape and the natural landscape. The idea of the CCA was always that people knew about art, but they had no idea about architecture, and it's so important in the way it people's lives, the quality of their lives, what they think of themselves, what they think of where they are. Basically, it was always a question of making people aware of the importance of the quality of the cities they lived in.
Contemporary society and the contemporary situation is deeply different than 20 or 30 years ago. We are now starting to face issues like sustainability, health, environment, participation, urbanism. All these kind of issues are, if you open the iPad every morning or the computer or you just read a newspaper, you will see them almost everywhere. I think that if we want that architecture is not becoming kind of decorative and irrelevant component of the contemporary culture and society, it's important that these issues are incorporated inside the discussion of the architects. And very often these issues are present in the discussion, but they are never analyzed from a critical point of view.
I was very deeply imbued in Montreal, and the city had been badly demolished. The people didn't care. There was no interest in architecture. There wasn't an idea of an art, or it had nothing to do with people's lives or the pleasure and the kind of quality of life that you could have. The Chauncey House was about to be demolished. I was fortunate enough to be able to buy it. The Boulevard René Lévesque had been widened, and then those two arms coming off the freeway had been created, and so they're right there. And the thing was to make a virtue out of something that was monstrous. So it was to repair, really, the urban fabric. And I think when you do that, people start to pick up around and say, oh, well, we can do something better here too.
CCA collection has been developed starting from the private collection of Phyllis Lambert and has grown in the last 25 years. Our mandate is to collect an international research collection which could be important for the understanding of architecture today and for the future researchers. We select scholars, architects, people coming from different fields but interested in architecture. Most of our public is not here in Montreal, but is all over the world, in the universities, in different professional groups that you can find in Europe, in Asia, North America. We would like to make available this material more and more to a large international public.
The building sits on its collections. The collections are in the vaults underground. Then above that are the layer of the people who treat and analyze these documents. And then there's a public layer. When you enter, it is a wonderful bookstore. Then there's a suite of 7 galleries that usually work together for larger exhibitions. And then there's the library at the far end of that. We always put things in context. There is not just a building as such, but there is a building with a garden that it related to, and the design of the garden really did relate directly to the building. There was always a kind of a public space relating to the residential area. Ultimately, it is the people who demand that one respects the public realm. And that's why an educated public. The public has to be able to say what is necessary for even just a reasonable city, let alone a wonderful city.
Clearly, we are not willing to or pretending to offer solutions, but mainly we are willing to define the problems in a more critical way.
If you think of the building as part of the world you live in and part of the ideas that exist in society. Mies, for example, Mies van der Rohe. His question was not what is architecture, what is our society today and how can we build for it? So that's a pervading question.